Hi Aries, this is going to be your reading for September 2018. Before I start the reading, I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody who took the time to send me get well messages, who, sent prayers for me, and just showed, so much love and kindness. I really, really do appreciate it. And just a quick update, I was at the hospital yesterday for the results of the biopsy. Yes, as we know, it is cancer. On the 25th of this month, I will be going into hospital to have it removed. And then most likely about 6 weeks after, I will have a course of radiotherapy. So, as I said, just a massive, massive thank you to everybody that sent me those get well messages. So, Aries, to start your reading, the card at the centre, we've got the Four of Pentacles. Now, look, the Four of Pentacles, it could simply be that at the moment you're holding on to your finances, okay? Because that's what the card can represent. Maybe, maybe there's somebody around you that's been wanting money from you or has been happy to spend a little bit of your money. Maybe you feel the need to hold on to your finances at the moment. Maybe you're going through or have gone through some financial difficulty. Maybe you think that there may be a few bumps in the road with your finances during this month, or indeed even in October, and you're feeling the need to just, not spend too much. But if we're not talking about finances, then the Four of Pentacles is about holding on to something or someone. Now, with the past coming through, we've got justice. Now, justice, it is about making sure those scales are evenly balanced. It's coming through from the past. So, is it simply about how there is a problem or some problems that need to be resolved? And the only way we can resolve those problems is by bringing them to the surface. But is the Justice card there, from the past and still coming through now? Because on some level, do you feel that you've been unfairly treated? Because the Justice card is about, as I said, keeping those scales evenly balanced. Acting in a fair and just way. Have you, is it you that hasn't acted in that fair and just way? Or are you feeling that you've been unjustly treated by someone? The present is the Eight of Wands. And the Eight of Wands is a card of communication, quick communication. Sometimes it's unexpected. It could come from somebody that we didn't expect to hear. It could be that, somebody tells us something, or somebody, says something to us that we didn't expect them to say. But overall, the Eight of Wands is about quick communication coming through. In your advice, we have the Two of Swords. So the Two of Swords, it's about needing to make a decision. The thing with the Two of Swords is we've got the blindfold on. And we know a choice has got to be made, or a decision's got to be made, but at the moment we're choosing not to act. Is it because we know some change is needed, or we know a difficult decision has to be made? But, because we're still holding on to something here with that Four of Pentacles. But see, the thing is as well, remember with the Two of Swords, we've come from the Ace of Swords. And the Ace of Swords gives us clarity. It gives us a new understanding. So when we get to the Two of Swords, we've got the truth there. You know, we can see things. We've got that clarity there. We've got the new understanding there. But with the Two of Swords, we're choosing not to act. After the Two of Swords, we then get the Three of Swords. That's not on the table. But the Three of Swords, it can talk about sadness. It can talk about pain. You know, is the Two of Swords very much talking about how a decision that you've got to make could mean that maybe you have to cut somebody out of your life? A decision that you've got to make is very difficult, and you know it could impact on somebody else. In your position of how others see you or your environment, we've got the Queen of Swords here. Now, it could suggest that there's somebody in your environment, quite possibly an air sign, okay, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. And, you know, maybe this person is who, you know, that this Justice card, maybe you feel you've been unjustly treated by this person. Maybe this is a person that you're holding on to. Maybe this is the person that communication is coming through from. But if this is how others are seeing you, then they're seeing you as being very analytical. You know, where you may not be showing much emotion, that you're being very logical now. You know, the Queen of Swords, she uses the sword to get to the truth and to speak her truth. In your hopes and fears, we've got the Five of Wands. Now, why the Five of Wands can talk about an element of conflict, but it's more banter. It can also talk about internal struggles. And I think that's what it's more talking about here. It's not something you're hoping for. You know, this would be more of a fear than a hope. But I think it's more in relation to some internal struggle, something that you're going through at the moment. Now, with your outcome, you've got the Fool. And the Fool is right the way back to the very beginning. And the Fool talks about new beginnings, new starts, going down a new path, a new journey. We may not know where that path's going to take us. We don't know where it's going to lead us. But it's about, you know, taking that leap of faith here. Maybe with the Justice card there, maybe we have been unfairly treated. And maybe we're still holding on to an element of resentment or bitterness or anger in regards to that. But maybe it's now time to let that go. Because if we're holding on to any of those negative energies from something that's happened in the past, it's going to prevent us from being able to take those steps in a new direction. Now, I've pulled two cards from the Psychic Tarot. One of them came out reversed, and when it comes out reversed, it's still the same message. It just talks about how it may be a little bit difficult to bring in that energy at the moment. Maybe we're preventing that at the moment. But I'm going to read from the book. But the first card you got, as I said, it come out reverse. But it is called Suffering in Silence. The number 9 denotes completion. Are you finally ready to let go of those limiting negative beliefs? Or are you allowing the issues in your life to become bigger than they really are? Your mind has been doing quite a job on you lately, and even your dreams may be trying to get your attention. When you learn to let go of the worry, despair, and sense of hopelessness, a positive new way or path will be shown to you. This card follows Trapped in Fear, the number 8 mental card. When your fears aren't confronted, your mental anguish will continue. This is a reminder to take action and trust that your soul and the power of spirit will grasp you firmly by the hand and guide you. But you must take the first step toward healing and let go of the mental distress. Don't suffer in silence. Reach out for the help that's available. So like I was saying, Aries, you know, I feel that Four of Pentacles is you holding on to worry or, you know, negative beliefs. You know, it could be, this card says, you know, an element of despair, a sense of hopelessness. It could be, as I said, that, you know, you feel you've been untreated, you know, treated unfairly. But it's now time to let go of that. Because we've got the Fool card there, and the Fool does talk, as I said, about new beginnings, okay, which is mentioned in this card with the suffering in silence. Now, your next card you've got kind of backs that up a little bit more, because we've now got Prosperity Begins. And this card brings a message of beginnings, prosperity, wealth, and new business, which could soon be in the palm of your hand. It may be a result of your hard work, past efforts and investments, or it could show up unexpectedly. It may even be presented as a gift. With careful and diligent planning, recent endeavours and money-making ideas show great possibilities and promises of monetary gains. This is a time to focus on the most beneficial outcome. Expect the best and envisage that project or new job having a successful result. Feel it, see it, and most important, believe it. When you focus on abundance and the positive aspects of the material world and offer gratitude, prosperity in all forms will flow even more freely. So, you know, we've got some prosperity there waiting to come through. But I think we've got to change our mindsets. You know, we've got to get rid of any negative thoughts. You know, we've got to let go of any feelings of, as I keep saying with that Justice card, of not being treated fairly. With the Two of Swords there in our advice position, it's time to take that blindfold off now. You know, we've come from the Ace of Swords. To get the Two, we've come from the Ace of Swords. We've got clarity. And now we need to let go of what is holding us back in order to move forward and go down this new path. So Aries, that is what I have for you for September. I am hoping that this month, before my operation, I will have time to do the ex-partner readings for September. Thank you so much and take care. Bye. Hi, Aries.